Hi, and welcome back to Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants, the go-to podcast for holistic health seekers looking to harness the power of nature for health and healing. I am Jen. I'm a passionate health educator, a whole food, plant-based culinary coach, a master herbalist, and I'm here with Dan, an exercise specialist and a wonderful master herbalist. Together, we dive into the world of natural healing, bringing you a wealth of knowledge and practical advice. We draw from both traditional wisdom and modern science with herbs and foods to help you achieve optimal health. So today's topic should definitely get everyone's attention. This was really creepy. It's an article that Dan sent me a few weeks ago, and it was like, oh my gosh, we definitely have to talk about this. And it was about aging and body aging. Is your body aging faster than your chronological age? And I know there's a lot about telomeres. I was in a study with Dr. Furman where they actually tested our telomeres to see where you are in alignment with your body's age, and that's fascinating science to me. So there's this new study that's in Nature Medicine that talks about younger generations and how they're experiencing accelerated biological aging, and when we age too quickly, that it leads to an increase in cancers. And we know that there's a rise in childhood cancers as well. So, where should we begin with this, Dan?
Well, we should begin with lifestyle and some of the things that, I'm 48, and some of the things that when I was a kid that we would do as children that you don't see anymore. I just think that when I was a kid, all the kids were on their bicycles.
Mhm.
They were walking in the creek trying to catch tadpoles. They were building tree houses. When the sun was up, we were outside playing until the sun went down. Our mom would call us like, come and eat dinner.
Right, right. Yeah.
Now I don't see a kid anywhere. I ride my bicycle still.
Mhm,
I mean, I don't see any kids riding. I have a bicycle trail here, Ladaga Trail.
mhm.
You never see a kid out there. It's all middle-aged and old adults riding.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, you don't see kids doing active things and being outside. We were always like you said, I was either on my bike or on my skates, and I would even ride my skates for several miles a day because our my friends we didn't live right next to each other. You had to ride quite a ways, and then we'd have to explore, right? Take the trails and all that. Very active outside all day. When we look at food, which we're always talking about food. Too, I have to think that a lot of it has to do with the food, though I will say I ate a lot of junk as a kid, for sure. Like canned icing, that was one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
And lots of hot dog buns. Yeah, we did eat hot dogs as well. But so I know we're in a huge processed food age right now, lots of packaged foods, but there were back then too. And I think that, that's when the microwaves came out and we could have microwave meals and TV dinners and quick meals and stuff like that. And so it probably all started with um, I'm in my 50s, so I'm older than Dan, but I think it probably started right in my generation or shortly thereafter. Because I know, like my brother, he would go through like a case of Coca-Colas a day, and stuff like that. So I think food and computers definitely have a lot to do with this.
Yes, food, computers,
And activity, yeah.
artificial lighting.
Mm, true. Yes. Yeah.
And I think the processed foods have gotten more advanced and even more processed. And one of the foods that has one of the strongest links now are the processed meats, the hot dogs, the cold cuts.
Right. Which we ate those
Oh,
too, bologna.
we did, we did. I just think that now, though, we played a lot outside. We got a lot of sunlight, but now the kids coming up now, they don't do any of that. They usually stay inside. They're on the iPhone, they're on the computer. They're
Right.
not very active, and they're not very social, from what I understand. Like they don't socialize like we used to. It's
Right.
mostly through text, things like that.
Hmm.
I don't think they know exactly. I mean, all these things are a factor, but I don't think they know the whole picture yet of why younger people are aging faster and getting sicker quicker, because this is a huge thing. I mean, we don't want people to get sick, but also this is going to lower the population even more because also the birth rate is down too because these people aren't healthy enough to have children.
Right, right. So let's
So,
talk a little bit about the research that actually came out. So the study looked at more than 150,000 people. They found that younger generations are aging faster, which I remember reading that. So many of you know I got my master's in health science back in the 90s, and we talked a lot about that. You know, people were maturing a lot faster. Girls were having periods a lot earlier. And so that's been happening since the 90s. And I think that it's just keeps happening sooner and sooner. And a lot of that back then, there were a lot of studies about like chickens. And so I can't remember what they give chickens to make them grow and age so much quicker. Do you remember? So if you look at a chicken that is just raised naturally versus one that is in these farms, they are ready to be killed and eaten so much sooner. They are so much fatter. They have trouble walking, even they're so fat. And so many people were eating so much chicken back then in the 90s, and that led to a lot of hormonal concerns too. And that was off topic. That wasn't with the research study. The research study looked at
well,
150,000 people, and then it looked at early onset of cancers related to faster aging.
and the good news is the lifestyle environment plays a big role in this. I mean, they've known for before this study, I saw a study. It said that over 80% of cancers, some of the main causes are environmental, the things we're exposed to, the foods we're eating, even your attitude. If you're depressed a lot,
Mhm.
all these things affect cancer. But you
Yeah.
think about this, if it's causing cancer in younger people,
Mhm.
you're also going to have increased inflammation, which can cause other things with diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, or I mean, some children are getting that. 10-year-old children
Yeah,
are
it
being
used to be adult
diagnosed.
onset, right? And now
Yeah.
it's happening younger and younger. Yeah, so many kids have diabetes and blood sugar problems. Yes, yes. And so we have so much chronic inflammation. We have these diseases, especially like the rise of autoimmune diseases. That's my area. But I can't even remember now. There's over 100 autoimmune diseases now where we didn't hear, which we say we didn't hear about them, but my grandfather had them. And maybe he didn't have the clear diagnosis, but now looking back, I can tell. He did. I have other family members that I can see it in them too. A lot of times people don't know that like psoriasis is a autoimmune disease. And so they have it, they don't realize it, or eczema. And so there are autoimmune diseases people have, they just don't know they're autoimmune. But that's chronic inflammation. Anytime you have some kind of pain or that is continual, or a rash or something that lasts for a long time, that's chronic inflammation. And that leads to aging. Blood sugar dysregulation, and 93% of Americans are metabolically unwell. That's in studies that came out in North Carolina. They that is released every maybe 5 years, and it was like 88%. Now it's 93%. The last time that was like maybe 2022, where they said 93%. And so all those people have, and maybe not it's blood sugar, but maybe it's liver or heart. 93%, that's crazy. That's total chronic inflammation. And so that leads to aging. We're not sleeping well because of the blue lights that you talked about. We're eating these processed foods. We're not getting the exercise and movement, especially children. And then chronic stress and the toxins, like how many chemicals. We have did another podcast where we talked about that. And it just goes on and on.
Another thing they found is your organs don't all age at the same rate. They found that an older immune system was linked with lung cancer. Older fat tissue was linked with colorectal cancer.
Yeah,
This
I've
is
heard that too. Yeah. Yeah. Fat, especially like body fat, is connected to our hormonal system. And so it leads to hormonal imbalances like estrogen dominance, things like that, that lead to those estrogen related cancers, which can be any of the sex organ type cancers and colorectal cancer.
and being overweight. They're showing now being obese with too much body fat actually lowers the immune system too.
Right.
So it's a double whammy.
Mhm.
let's see.
Yeah.
I didn't know this that the organs they age at different speeds. So your brain, your muscles, your immune system, your
Yeah.
arteries, they may all age differently. That is crazy. I think that's
Yeah.
definitely a new finding.
I think so too. And I'm wondering how much that has to do with like EMFs. Like usually here we are
Ah,
on our computers. I'm using my computer is not plugged into anything. So I've got the Bluetooth. So how much is surrounding me? And I like studying energy medicine. And maybe this gets really woo-woo, but we have like a 12-inch perimeter around our body. So 12 inches above my head, in front of my face, that is still me. And if I'm holding a phone close to me, or if I'm holding my computer close to me, things like that, how much is that interfering with my own energy system? Too. So we don't think of our bodies as having an energetic system, but Dr. Christopher talked a lot about that, how we need to walk barefoot outside, which, oh my God, I can't remember the last time I've done that,
me
to ground ourselves. And he said that, I don't know if it's still true today, but even it was in Japan, I believe, where they didn't let children wear rubber-soled shoes for grounding so that they would be grounded to release that pent-up excess energy into the ground.
Yes, I mean, that's what I was going to say it normally is we've gotten so far away from natural living. We were talking about this before we got on today.
Yeah,
I mean, our ancestors, I mean, we're basically, our civilization is pretty new since we all lived in houses. We stay in the air conditioner every day. People before this, like our ancestors, they were out in the sun all day walking, foraging,
right,
and those
right,
people were not as sick as us.
right,
Now, some people say, well, they didn't live as long. No, no, no. Some of them did live as long. So there's people back 200 years ago that they would see their 70s, you know?
right, right,
So that's not the reason either. The reason I do believe sunlight's very important. You know, you're not supposed to get sunburned, but I think you should
right,
get 10 and 15 minutes, maybe once a day for, the sun because the vitamin
right,
D, and it's more than just that. The sun is very healing to the human body. There's actually a study now showing that sun exposure actually can improve your eyesight.
right, right.
So,
And we don't realize that we're exposed to different light waves throughout the day. And so, like
yeah.
getting out that early morning sunlight, we have specific UV rays, which we hear UV rays and think danger. We have specific colors and things that help to increase melatonin so that you sleep better at night. And if you notice, if you look outside, and really pay attention, the color outside does change throughout the day. And in the afternoon, if we are outside, we have a different level that helps us, calm down and prepare for bed. And so it is very important to get outside and get the natural sunlight. And I love that study where even sun on your eyelids, only for a few minutes, not all day, but helping with your eyesight.
Yes, in the circadian rhythms, they say now that when you wake up in the morning, you should go get sunlight because
Yeah,
it will help keep your circadian rhythms healthy. That way you can
right.
sleep. You know, a lot of people have sleep problems, and they say this can help. I mean, we're so disconnected from nature. They're showing now that when you go and walk in nature, the trees actually send chemicals out that actually boost your immune system.
Yes, forest bathing. Yeah,
Yes. So there's all these things now that we are stuck in cubicles, we're stuck in the home. We don't really get together anymore. Think about, loneliness is at an all-time high. We don't really have a lot of friends that get together anymore. Families don't really get together. We're eating by ourselves. I mean, I think about my mom, like she's alone a lot, so she eats dinner alone, and that's sad. I mean, of course, I eat dinner with her, but my point is, we're missing out on human connection. We're missing out on the sun, exercise. I just think that the human condition right now is it's just not the way we're supposed to live. We don't
right.
have enough humanness anymore.
Right. I blame it on computers.
They do. I mean, computers
Yeah.
play a big role.
I wouldn't have my business if I didn't have computers, but I still blame it on computers. So let's move away from the doom and gloom and let's talk about what we can do to help prevent this accelerated aging and to help with longevity. I know Dr. Christopher said that, the body can heal itself and recover when we remove things, which is one of the same things we do whenever we do like a detox or reset or something like that, whatever word you use, we remove whatever is preventing you from having the health or the weight that you want. Like for instance, when I do my resets with my clients, we remove added sugars, we remove inflammatory type foods. And so when we remove those things that are creating disease or aging in this case, and that helps our body to heal better.
Yes, I think what Dr. Schultz taught is what I really go by the most is instead of focusing on it, maybe you have a disease, instead of focusing on that disease, focus on getting as healthy as you possibly can. And
Yes,
when you do that, your body can handle the disease. Most of the time, it'll get rid of it. And so how
yes,
do we do that? Well, we go back, we eat plenty of fruits and vegetables.
yes.
Excuse me.
My number one,
Exercise. Do
yeah.
I?
I was gonna say I was gonna go into the foods, but you can do all of them.
Oh no, no. You go ahead.
I was gonna say my favorite food for longevity is beans.
Yes.
Legumes. Yes.
Yes.
And so many people, especially with the low carb phase and keto, all these people are so afraid of beans. And then they hear that they have anti-chemicals and all these things. No, they need to be properly prepared, but they are one of the healthiest foods that we can have. So high in fiber and B vitamins and resistant starches and high in polyphenols. They're just wonderful for our gut health, feeding the microbiome. And for blood sugars, people say I can't eat them because of my blood sugar. Well, maybe you can't eat 2 cups of beans or a bean soup alone. Maybe you need to have something else with it, but portioning out your beans and determining what quantity of beans is right for you, I think is really important.
Yes. And we get into the blue zones with the beans. They all eat beans.
Yes, yes. Dr. Greger says we need to eat beans every day. Dr. Furman. I mean, there's just so many doctors out there too that talk about that. And the blue zones is all about longevity if you haven't read about the blue zones.
Yeah,
And then,
even if you eat meat, I think you should eat beans too.
yeah, yes, definitely add in the beans. Beans every day. Every day have some beans.
And leafy greens are huge. I mean, and the thing is, I don't even get enough leafy greens.
I aim for lots of leafy greens when I travel. That's one of the things I struggle with, but they're so high in antioxidants and magnesium and folate and all these other phytochemicals that are so great for us. And they're also wonderful for our circulatory system and repairing the body. I cannot come up with enough reasons not to have leafy greens. We've got to have our leafy greens. And do you have to have a salad? No. Saute the greens, steam the greens, add them to soups, stews, top your salad or sandwich or whatever. Well, salad would already be leafy greens. That was silly to say. But a bowl, you could have a grain bowl or any of those things. Adding leafy greens to different things and rotating them. So maybe you're saying, "Oh, but I can't have oxalates." There are lots of leafy greens that are lower in oxalates. And that's a whole nother discussion. But I love, 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 love greens 3 times a day.
Berries, I'm going to tell you, berries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, all these are so wonderful for you. And right now they're very in season. So, and
Yeah.
blueberries are showing that blueberries can help slow down or prevent developing things like dementia, which is huge because it's such a prevalent disease now.
Yeah, lots of studies on that. Yes. Yes, and right now is the perfect time to go out and gather your berries. Rich in anthocyanins, that's gives it like the purpley color, and that is wonderful for the brain and circulatory system, so for brain and heart. Another one that we have to include every day is berries, and maybe it's a handful. Putting them in your breakfast or topping a salad or something like that, or having them as a dessert is another great way to enjoy berries. But just having those berries is so important, especially for healthy aging.
And then a lot of the thing, mushrooms. How many people eat mushrooms every day? I don't, but
I don't, but I try to, and I just showed Dan before we got on this call. My daughter just gifted me some mushroom jerky, which I was like a little leery about. It's delicious. It's so good. She got me a salt and pepper one and a teriyaki one and a barbecue one that I can't eat. It has something in it that I'm allergic to. But what a great way to get in your mushrooms. What a great snack. And you could even put it on different things. It's so good. But there are so many studies out there on mushrooms. Dan and I took classes with Dr. Christopher Hobbs on mushrooms, which was a fabulous class. I even brought home his book, but talking about all the different mushrooms and all the health benefits and how wonderful they are for our gut microbiome. And we learned about how mushrooms communicate with trees and things like that. It's just a wonderful, wonderful world that we live in, that everything in nature just has a purpose, and mushrooms feed us but also help break down trees and create compost and great situations for other things to increase and build. And then we have these mushrooms that are so high in medicinal qualities. Lion's mane, which you can make, lion's mane barbecue or crab cakes, or just saute the lion's mane, and shiitakes and mayatakes. They're wonderful for the brain, but also for healthy aging. And Dr. Furman, who we also learned from at the School of Natural Healing, his book talks about how we should have mushrooms every day. And even something like a half of a button mushroom can help to prevent breast cancer. How crazy is that?
That is crazy. It makes me think of what was it? You're talking about lion's mane.
Mhm.
I have a dog that I'm trying to help. She's got cancer, and there's a supplement now on Amazon. It's for dogs. I think it has three types of mushrooms to help boost their immune
Wow.
system.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always think about mushrooms. Also think about the immune system, and we're talking about this today while we're aging faster. The immune
Uh-huh.
system plays a huge role, and so things that we can do to keep the immune system strong are very,
Yeah.
very important. Mushrooms is one of them.
Yeah. And Dr. Furman says eat them every day. I don't remember if they're on the daily dozen, but I bet they are.
Probably so.
Yeah. And then another one that's definitely on Dr. Furman's list is cruciferous vegetables, which I also encourage people to have cruciferous vegetables at least once a day. They don't have to be raw, they can be cooked. Or sprouts, broccoli sprouts, any of those. They're just so great for detoxification and for protecting our cells. And so I really strongly encourage people to have cruciferous vegetables. So that's broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. There's lots of different things, all the different kinds of cabbages in the cruciferous family, but very high in minerals. And like I said, wonderful for the liver.
Garlic, that's on the list. Garlic is one of my favorites.
Yes, I forgot to tell you. So I was traveling this last week and I found a shop that had black garlic salt.
Oh
Not only
wow.
is it delicious, but we've talked about black garlic before and how wonderful it is for the heart. So garlic is one of our oldest medicinal foods. So when we talk about traditional healing, garlic is wonderful. Garlic is so antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, wonderful for the heart. There's so many reasons to include garlic in your meals, and you want raw, unfortunately, for some people. Garlic powder also does still have some medicinal qualities, but when you cook it, you kind of lose those medicinal qualities. But garlic is so good for the heart, for healthy aging, and for reducing inflammation.
And there's some herbs that can possibly help us slow down the aging process. Turmeric is always on the list because it's a really good anti-inflammatory. As we talk about, inflammation is a big factor in a lot of our diseases. And as we get older, we get more inflammation just from the aging process. So turmeric really is a big player here. It also
Yeah.
helps with your joint pain. If you have joint pain, it helps support your brain. In fact, there's studies out of India. They have less dementia in India, and it has been linked to their daily turmeric consumption. So
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
it's a
I
good
love
herb to
that.
cook with too, so you can cook with it.
Yeah. Easy to add into a dal or a rice bowl or something like that. Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of turmeric, but it is,
Yeah.
that bright yellow color that is just so good for us. Right.
Yeah, I don't like the way it tastes, so I usually take it in a capsule or something.
I can hide it in a curry, things like that.
Yeah.
I can have a little bit, but Like you can buy like the turmeric shots in the grocery store and things like that. Ugh, I do not like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a tasty herb for sure, but it's a powerful one. So
Yes,
I guess that's
yes.
why that tastes good, right? Because powerful medicine usually tastes kind of
Right, right. Yes.
So rosemary is a good one because it helps to drive blood to the brain. Again, we're talking about the brain. I mean, because look, the brain is a very important part of being healthy. I've had family members that had dementia, and it just completely changes your whole life and existence. So
Right.
we want to try to keep that brain healthy, and rosemary is one of the herbs that can help us keep the brain healthy, and it helps with the memory too.
Yes. I remember us learning a lot about rosemary at the School of Natural Healing and how important it is for the brain.
Yeah, Dr. Schultz talked about it a lot. He would like to combine it with ginkgo and cayenne pepper.
Right. Right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the next one on our list is green tea. And so I've started incorporating green tea for about a year now. I'll have a cup of green tea every day just because I could not ignore the studies. And so I know it has caffeine. There are some, you can get caffeine free green tea or reduced caffeine. I've also read that you could pour hot water over the tea bag and toss it and then make the green tea, and that helps reduce the caffeine. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's so rich in catechins and so important for health and longevity. There's just too many studies out there about the importance of green tea, and it's also important for our intestinal health as well. So I do incorporate green tea daily.
Astragalus is another one on the list because it's an adaptogen.
Hmm.
It actually helps. It even helps if you have an autoimmune disease. It helps the immune system calm down. It's what we learned
Right.
in the School of Natural Healing, and they would combine it with marshmallow root.
Yes, yes, I love that combination. Yeah, the marshmallow with the astragalus to help strengthen the immune system, but keep it in balance too. So many people are afraid of taking something like astragalus if they have autoimmune, thinking that it's going to stimulate the immune system. But what we learned was it's an adaptogen, which helps to balance the immune system. And so if you have your immune system's on fire, it's going to help calm. And if it's too low, it's going to help restore.
And then reishi mushroom is known as the
Yes.
mushroom of immortality. It helps support longevity and immune system health again.
Yeah, yeah, another medicinal mushroom. We love these mushrooms. Yeah, and so that's not one that's a culinary. So that's why we have it in the herbs. The other one,
Yeah.
shiitake, lion's mane, those you can add to your foods, but reishi, I've never seen it in a food.
And then holy basil is another herb that helps with, well, it's an adaptogen. It helps your body deal with stress better because look, we all have stress, don't we?
Yes, and you
It's
may know it
self-induced.
as Tulsi.
Uh,
Yeah, were you going to say more about it?
I was going to say whether the stress is self-induced or if it's induced by something else going on in your life, but it helps. Well, stress accelerates aging. So the more we can kind of chill out, the better for our overall health. So,
Yeah, stress leads to inflammation. And so I love Tulsi, holy basil, whatever you want to call it. And we grow it here on our farm. And I like to just cut it and stick it in the dehydrator. And then the whole house smells. It just has this beautiful smell. And so the whole house is so calming. I love it. I love it. I love it in a tea. I love it in the dehydrator where I have my own aromatherapy. It is just, it's very calming. I love it.
so, and of course, we always teach the whole package. So lifestyle matters are just as important. Lifestyle because you can take all the herbs you want to, but if you're sitting on the couch lonely, you know, and eating McDonald's, then
Please
it's not
don't.
going to work so good.
Right, right. Yeah, and I think we talked about all of these. Morning, getting out in the sun, getting that morning sunlight, walking regularly. We didn't talk about strength training, so we'll talk about that. We're definitely talking about that more next week and the importance of strength training and aging. And we found another really crazy study about strength training and aging. So I can't wait till next week when we talk about that. Getting quality sleep. And so it's not only first of all, you have to give yourself enough time to be in bed, but also having that uninterrupted, high quality sleep is so important. Managing stress and then maintaining muscle mass, which goes back to our strength training. And then Dan talked about community. We want to, loneliness is not going to help us with our health. Being part of community, having a sense of purpose. These are all found in the blue zones too. Having a sense of purpose is also important. I know a lot of people, they retire and then we hear about people who die after they retire because they lose that sense of purpose. And making sure we all have a purpose and we feel our purpose and we know what our purpose is. Finding joy and laughter. All of these are just so important for a full rounded um for health and longevity, which is what, and natural healing, it's not just one thing. It's not just the food or just the herb. We have to look at the whole body. Everything has to be involved.
Yeah, before we go, I want to add one thing. I saw this other article. We're talking about how processed foods are
Mhm.
causing things like this. There's a study now showing that eating ultra-processed food can increase your risk of dementia by 53%. And the kicker is, even if you eat just a little bit of processed food and the rest of your meals are fruits and vegetables, it seems not to matter. So
Mm,
there's really not a healthy dose of processed foods at all. It's kind of like alcohol. They're saying that no amount of alcohol is good for you. So
right.
now the no amount of processed food is good for you, they're finding. This is crazy. No
Wow.
wonder we're having so many health problems.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and we didn't even talk about alcohol. Yeah, so no alcohol is super alcohol and tobacco. Both of
Oh
those
yeah.
are going to age you so quickly. So I'm glad you mentioned that. But how crazy is that? Yeah,
It's
just a little
crazy.
bit. I remember in a study, so this is I'm totally going on a tangent about French fries and eating French fries. I can't remember how long I posted something about it at one point. It takes something like 6 months for your body to recover from eating a serving of French fries.
Oh
And
God.
so if you only eat French fries once every 6 months, then you're still repairing that damage for 6 months. But what are the chances people are doing that? They're eating the French fries, weekly. Or some schools serve French fries in the schools. So kids eat French fries every single day. And so, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is, but it's also to me it gives us a little bit more hope because there's so many people that are sick, but now we're realizing that moderation kills. Moderation is not true.
Right. Yeah, there's no such thing as moderation. Moderation for me might be one donut a day, and for you it might be one donut a year, right?
Yeah.
You can't define moderation. And if based on that study that you found, if it really doesn't matter, if you're still eating the fruits and vegetables with that processed food, we need to get rid of that processed food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can't prevent getting older. We're all going to age, but we can slow the processes that make us age faster. Eating healthy, eating those things we talked about, the berries and the greens and the beans, making sure we're walking throughout the day, moving our body. Our lymphatic system, we talked about this on another podcast, does not have, doesn't have a pump. It doesn't like our heart. We have to move our body. Those muscle contractions are what move lymph. And we know when we hear about cancer and you hear cancer is spread to the lymph nodes, we know, oh, that's dangerous because then it's going to other areas of the body. That lymph's not going to move unless you're moving your body. So you want to move all parts of your body throughout the day, every single day. You want to move your body, getting that good quality sleep, having a cup of herbal tea. We talked about some delicious teas that you could have. Maybe turmeric's not delicious for you, but we didn't talk about ginger. One of my favorite. As a matter of fact, I'm making a very strong ginger tea behind the computer right now, just because there's so many wonderful benefits for ginger as far as aging.
Yes, and you combine a lot of these together, you make a whole lifestyle, and that's how you become healthy. It's not just one thing, unfortunately, but you'll
Yeah,
get the hang of this. I mean,
yeah,
you can make a lot of wonderful food at home, and it tastes good. It doesn't have to be McDonald's, okay?
yes. And you don't have to do everything all at once.
No.
None of us can change everything all at once. So just pick one thing that we talked about today. I did not give a medical disclaimer, which I should. The information we're sharing today is for educational and entertainment purposes only. If something doesn't align with you, then don't do it. If something does feel in alignment with you, then run that through your medical provider and do your own due diligence and look up and see if that's the right thing for you. But for us, having the teas and moving the body and doing all these things is so important to help with slowing the aging process and repairing the body so that we have more activity as we age.
Couldn't have said it better. I think that this has been a good podcast, and because there's a lot of gloom and doom in the world, but we're trying to tell you this doesn't have to be your fate if you just put a little bit of effort in.
Yes, yes. Well, if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who wants to age with strength, energy, and vitality. To find out more about Dan, he is also a personal trainer and helps with consultations one-on-one. You can find him at danthenaturalman.com. I also work with clients one-on-one. My specialty is autoimmune disease, but other endocrine concerns as well. And you can find me at holisticjen.com. That is with a W, WHOLISTICJEN.com. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep healing with plants. And next week, we're going to be talking more about building muscle and strength training.